Holy, another real video. And I hope I post it. I haven't really been posting my thoughts on the gram. Thoughts that are specifically for the gram. I just end up posting them to my YouTube. And I don't even promote the YouTube where I'm posting it. So it's kind of whack. I'm kind of moving whack. But this video I have to, hopefully I don't get cold feet. Because Toronto, you got to hear this. The reason folk is looking at us and saying we have no culture, because everybody who's standing up is ignoring the shoulders they're standing on. And everybody who's making it somewhere is forgetting where they came from. And the problem is, y'all making it to places, forgetting where you come from, but from the world stage, the places y'all making it to is nothing. It's nowhere. It's nothing. It means nothing. Like maybe in the next few years, maybe in the next few years, having a Juno will mean something, or being nominated for a Juno will mean something. But if it's like you get nominated for a Juno or you even win, and then you start ishing on the people who was rocking with you before you had it, you're whack. And I hope your career goes nowhere, because you're not the type of person to really represent the ends. You know what I'm saying? But generally, that's how majority of folks is asking. That's how majority of folks is behaving. And that's salty. That's really salty, because then that's what I'm saying there. What I'm saying there is, when you act like that, all the people who was rocking with you and manifesting blessings into your life and thinking positive thoughts on your life, they stop doing it. They start holding back the energy, and now you realize, why do I have to start moving more crude? Why do I gotta actually start moving more evil to get to the next step? Because you don't have the blessings no more. I'm just saying. And I'm not saying, oh, me personally, I take my energy thinking manifesting blessings on your life, so now your life is salty and you gotta think and move more edgy and snaky to actually make the next step, because you don't have. No, I ain't talking about me. I'm saying just the collective consciousness of people who's rooting for you. A lot of folk was rooting for certain individuals. They reach a certain level, and then boom, they start moving bougie. But you ain't even nothing yet. And I saw one of the dudes who's like, I don't even want to big him up, or not that I don't want to big him up. I don't want to expose his POV in terms of bigging him up this way, because I don't want to cause him no flat. But he made a post, and I was reading, and he's talking about, like, you know, people get a little bit of hype and they just start moving gassed and stuff. I'm not saying it verbatim, but I responded to him and I let him know, look, there's so few amount of mediums here, and you got to do so much manipulation and this, that, and maneuvers to try and get the whatever shine you're going to get, that when folks actually do get that little bit of shine, boom, they're gassed. They're immediately gassed. Why? Because there's so few amount of spotlights, and you have to do so much work to get the spotlight. It doesn't even matter if what you did that the spotlight is showing on is great enough or great to be hyped up. You're just hyped that you have the shine on you. So what you're going to do, you're going to act a bit more bougie. Because think about it this way. If you know that what you had to do to get that attention, most other people aren't even going to put in that level of work or put that level of effort, time, dedication, I get it. You're going to feel gassed, because you're going to be like, yo, everybody else working, doing their thing, but they ain't finessing and making the moves like me. So look at me. But you have to remember. I'm like, you have to forget. They're forgetting. You have to remember, on the world stage where the internet connects us all, these accomplishments and this shine and this light doesn't mean anything. The shine, the energy, and the light is really only supposed to revert back to your home base rocking with you some more. And it does. It makes the folks who's not really tapped in see, oh, wait, you have a bit of media presence off of this. Oh, you got an interview here, or you got a that there. Good job. But for the folk who truly understand, like everybody else in the industry, they're like, okay, you got a bag to pay for that interview. Okay, you got a bag to get this manager to lock in this. Okay, you got this grant. Like, we see all the moves. So we're not impressed. And I get it. From your perspective, it's like, well, why didn't you save up and put the bag towards that interview? Why didn't you line up that managers to help your career? Or why didn't you go for those grants and da-da-da, right? So from their point of view, is like, you just not put in the work. But it's a difference of perspectives. The perspective is art. The perspective is not really business. Business acumen is really the story of hip hop and being a disenfranchised people, but we already know that's not truly the Canadian story. The Canadian story is not truly individuals who are super disenfranchised, because majority of the people to even immigrate here had to be enfranchised in some way, shape, or form. You weren't the bottom of the rung. Well, yeah, there are people who's like the bottom of the rung and they finessed or they lied to get into the country or whatever the case may be, and they started literally from the bottom. But as soon as you're entering into Canada, the opportunities are available for you to enfranchise yourself in multiple ways that has nothing to do with the art world. Go work a regular job, work corporately, save up your money, and then boom, you can finesse into the art world same way. So knowing that these are the true ways people corporately move up in Canadian music kind of salts the entire music game from respecting people moving up in Canadian music. And it's a bad thing to say because there's so many people in Canadian music that I respect, love, salute, and would still love to work with regardless and work with currently. Just the point is, the general consensus is you see someone doing something and they blowing up on Six Buzz, you're not respecting it because Six Buzz as a platform, you understand where it came from, how it developed, but it's still the platform that is hyping things at this current day. It's the much music of today. So you kind of have to respect it for what it is. You have to respect all the other channels that are similar in taste. What does that mean? You have to respect the nonsense that's also being posted on it. And who wants to? Who wants to? No one does. So it kind of creates a stalemate. A stalemate where then the only thing working for us is to maybe not shit on the people who was rocking with you from jump. I'm saying, if you really think you can rest on the laurels of media and these platforms positioning you to say you're this and you're that, not the base that was rocking you from jump, that's the quef. And I think in the United States, where there's folks who will still rock with all the stuff they did back when they was corny or back when they had no bread or whatever, they're not deleting songs or deleting, like even Doechii right now, I can go to her YouTube page and see all her old videos when she was doing makeup tutorials and all that stuff. She's not embarrassed of what brought her to here. Meanwhile, you guys, most of you guys is embarrassed to say you even work with G. Think about that. Think about that for a bit. We have individuals in the United States who build career, Kendrick, all these folk who now, they rest in their energy and they booming. But you can go back and find old footage of them working or the old teams they were working with or the old songs they still dropped on Spotify and stuff. Y'all deleting your SoundCloud music. Y'all deleting old things. Y'all rebranding and changing your name every 5 seconds because whatever. That's not a good look. And that's essentially why we have no culture. If you're not proud of your beginnings, then no one can be proud of you now. That's the essence of the Toronto issue. Okay? And I don't even know if I properly explained it. I doubt I did. Maybe I did, but I think it's still gonna go over a lot of people's head. A lot of folks is gonna miss that point. Like they're gonna get triggered by maybe other things before they get to this point. So I don't know. That's why I end up not posting these. We'll see if we post this or this will just be another YouTube video. The point is, Toronto, you gotta step your game up and stop dissing. Like, it's crazy that when I came up, I had no idea the amount of gentlemen or gentlewomen or just people who pushed to do the same things I'm doing now. Pushed to try and get a placement for themselves without help or without management, just straight grind and grit. And they did it. They got a major placement, but no media bigged them up. I didn't even know they existed. I would have gone and run to work with them or to intern with them here in Canada versus me running to the States to intern with people and strangers out there. All right. But all that to say, when you do eventually meet up with people like that who have had a bit of placements or had this and the other and the 1-2 things to make them puff up their chest is puffed up way more than they could ever help you in terms of an opportunity. And it doesn't make sense. You're not going to actually be able to help me like a Babyface or a whatever, L.A. Reid or Jimmy Iovine or any of those people there. But you expect me to compromise my business, compromise myself and whatever, or respect you in a way like that. So it's a two-edged sword any way you slice it. The OGs is acting way too gas for the opportunities that they're not providing for the new and upcoming generation. And the upcoming generation, as soon as they're making moves, is forgetting about the 1, 2 things that maybe a 1, 2 OG or a situation might have provided for them because it's convenient. And it's looking ugly now. It's looking ugly as I look at the city and I'm seeing the dispersed energy of growth. I'm seeing certain tribes making their moves and certain things hitting plateaus. I'm seeing certain people rocking and making bread and things coming up, but they're not really being embraced by the wider audience. They're just kind of making a corporate move. And I'm like, what's going on? Why is there so much disjoint energy when there's finally growth in the ends? I understand, because everybody's still, in a sense, disconnected to their own past. Like, I'll mention no names, but this girl, she blowing up, and we didn't even know she was related to someone else who was already blown up in the city from before because she didn't want to connect herself to the stigma of what that person did when they were blowing up. That's how crazy our city is, where family don't even want to associate with each other until they're both on, and then we say, okay, well, just to let you know, that's my sis. That's crazy to me. I know too many examples. There's too many examples. I ain't going to speak on nothing direct. I'm just going to leave it alone. But I hope you get the point. Young folk who's coming up right now, the situations, your friends, your peers, business partners, whatever, even if they go bad, even if it goes negative, even if it doesn't work out in the end, don't ish on it just because you've been able to move on. That's not correct. Don't do that. You're only ishing on yourself because there was a version of you that sat in a room with that person and said, let's work, and shook hands. You didn't do the due diligence then, or you didn't have the knowledge or the understanding. So you can't ish on the situation. You're ishing on yourself. And you can't pretend that never happened or just rebrand it away or all that stuff, because you're rebranding an authentic part of yourself away. And people can see that, wait, this is dope, I like it, but it feels like something's missing. It seems like an authentic portion of it is not really there. And you want to know the people who feel like that? United Stations. Because all they do is listen to music that's authentic. All they have around them is authentic, hyped up artists from their boroughs, from their blocks, from their state, from their whatever, districts or whatever. Any way you want to chop it up, there's people on these different levels. The hottest nigga on the block, or the hottest dude in the area, in the streets, or the hottest dude in the district or the city, hottest dude in the state or the tri-state area. There's so many levels of it because their population is so large that now when they're introduced to you, prim and proper, properly branded everything, and then you start speaking like, but like, it doesn't feel like you really worked to get here, but you did. They just don't have no context because you're sitting by yourself. Where's your team? Where's the people who was rocking with you from the jump? Oh, well, that person I ain't rocking with no more. Or even if you do have the people originally with you from jump, it's just not connecting because maybe you switched up on the imagery, or you switched up on the production, or you switched up on the videographer, or you switched up somewhere where that authentic energy that's supposed to build upon itself is just replaced. Like, oh, you know what, you're fired now, we're gonna get this person. And I really love the folk who keep rocking with me even as their thing grow, because it shows me that you're really trying to do it the right way. And hopefully more people on the end start trying to do it the right way. I'm not saying you're doing it the wrong way. Okay, I guess I am saying you're doing it the wrong way. But come on, you got to think about it. Change can only happen if someone calls it out. And nobody calling this out. Everyone thinks it's okay because it's corporate moves and da-da-da, and it's like bottom line. Come on, this is art. And you have to understand certain things translate even when you don't think you're expressing it. And that authenticity piece, or that formula piece that you want to switch up so lackadaisically and think no one will get, oh, I don't need that engineer, I'll rock with this engineer, or I don't need that manager, I don't need that artist director, or I don't need this videographer, I don't need whatever the thought, versus saying, you know what, bro, we got into a back and forth, or we don't see eye to eye on this situation, but we still see eye to eye on the bottom line of what we're working towards. Let's forget that situation. Let's try and rehash it and work it out. And I'm telling you, a lot of people are trying to do that, but there's always someone in the situation letting their ego, right? So they working with you, but boom, maybe like Sears or the Bay solicits them to do business, and now they're feeling more gas. They don't have, who cares about your art and your music? I'm working now corporately with Corporate Canada or something. It happens on both sides. It happens with the service individuals and happens with the artists, happens with the musicians, it happens on all sides. There's always something going on. And that's very sad, because our scene is still pretty new and it needs to evolve, and it's only gonna evolve through collaboration. It's only gonna evolve through sticking together. It's only gonna evolve through recognizing and standing on the shoulders with pride, not shame, of where you came from. So don't forget that. Bless.